Accessing mainframe.
Launch authorization received. Countdown sequence initiated.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 4.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Chix Flix. My name is Rhonda. I am also known as Socially Rhonda and the Realtor Premier. And how are my girls? Where my chicks at? Y'all all right?
I'm all right. I'm Alicia, known as the Graphic Guru. I'm doing good. Besides my little fractured big toe, which I'm just, it ain't stopping me. I'm just rolling with it, still getting out. I had a good week, but I had a couple of disappointments this week. And y'all know how I post my characters and my quotes on my IG page. And I just thought of this week, and I'm living by no expectations, and a plan B will pretty much get you through life.
I love it.
Yeah. But I had a good week. Actually had the pleasure of traveling the last 2 weekends. Went to Savannah to hang out with some friends, and then went home to see the fam. And I tell you, a hug from your mama is just priceless. I had an amazing time with my family. So yeah, I had a good week. Broke toe and all.
Broke toe. One broke toe don't stop no show.
Don't stop no show.
Kim, you all right over there?
I am doing wonderful. Like Alicia, I traveled. I went home to see family for Mother's Day weekend. I hadn't seen my mom and stepdad in 451 days, and I had the ugly cry when I saw my mama, and got to see my niece and nephew, who I didn't think would remember me because I hadn't seen them in over 500 days. Just were all over me, playing, reading, painting, all kinds of stuff. So I had a really good time. What about you?
I was gonna say, I remember when your niece was younger, she was kind of giving you the cold shoulder. So she's grown out of that now, huh?
Yes, she has.
Oh my goodness, wonderful. Well, I had a great week. Again, back into the swing of things. Work is like 110%. Real estate is booming. I'm in the right place at the right time, in the right seat, managing some amazing agents that are getting it. Super full schedule during the day, meetings after work, a few social gatherings. So things are kind of just back to normal, pre-COVID normal. And so I'm just here for all of it, even though I do miss the stillness of quarantine. There are times where I really would love to have the option of turning it on and turning it off, right? So after this week, I wish I could turn it off and have some still quiet time, but it doesn't look like that's happening anytime soon. Other than that, I am great. Just so grateful to be here with you ladies.
Cool. Okay, ladies, what are we talking about on this podcast? We're going to start off with a big shot with Bethenny, without Remorse, and Monster. And let's start with the big shot with Bethenny. And I literally stalk her like in my head. I love Bethenny Frankel. Bethenny Frankel started off initially on a Martha Stewart reality show. Then she was one of the Real Housewives of New York. She always talked about a skinny girl cocktail. Right now, Miss Bethenny is worth $26 million. She sold her skinny girl cocktail to Beam Global for $100 million. So she started this show where she wants to find a second in command. So it's a reality show. They show 2 shows every Thursday on HBO Max. And it is a host of characters with different backgrounds, different personalities. So for Miss Nicole is the showstopper because she wore a crop top on the first day at the job, which I'm all about you expressing yourself. But I love it. It's entertaining. You get to you get a bit of Bethenny's wisdom. You get a bit of Bethenny's sarcasm. It's amazing, like just following these characters, and you don't know what she's gonna hit them with next. And I'm just not gonna even talk about her clothes. I want every single outfit that she's worn so far. But I admire Bethenny as a businessman and a businesswoman, and I think that she's very picky, which you gotta be. And the thing that we have in common, I can remember there was an episode where she was about to meet with one of the people who potentially wants to work with her, and she had to stop because like a frame on a table was not like at the correct angle. That is so me. That is like me all day. Like it's like when people come over, I don't understand why they're touching the stuff on my coffee table. But anyway, getting back to the show, I love it. It's one of my faves right now. Have taken away so many little business tips and tips of wisdom, and I don't know, ladies, what do you think about it?
I really enjoy the show. It's produced by Mark Burnett and Bethenny Frankel. Mark Burnett's claim to fame is he's like the king of reality TV, Survivor, Shark Tank, and so it was good to see that she had somebody in that wheelhouse to really make her show stand out. Bethenny Frankel forgot that she was part of Martha Stewart's Apprentice-like show, but I really came to know her from Roni, which is Real Housewives of New York. And she parlayed her moment and into a multi-million-dollar brand, which is Skinny Girl, because she was always ordering a skinny margarita on the show. And it has now moved it into, I think, 11 or 12 different brands, and shapewear being her number one. And I think on the show, I didn't realize she even got into cookware. Cooking accessories, which is like amazing. On the show, she's looking for somebody to be her VP of operations, her second-hand person, but she wants somebody who also is really good at social media, which she seems to really hate, but I think she does a great job on her social media. And I do agree, I love her wardrobe. I think she posted the other day that the wardrobe was from her closet. It's not like she's wearing clothes that are styled for the show. It's stuff that she's pulled out of her closet. The show is very fast paced, like her, typical New Yorker, straight, no chaser. Shoots, from the hip and no filter at all. And it seems like the show really has no rules, because the first night when they were at her house, she got rid of 4 people out off the bat. Brought people back, brought new people in. So it always kept the people that were competing on their toes, because they never knew what was going to come next. Bethenny is a friend in my head. Like you said, I follow her religiously on social media. I love her and her daughter and all the stuff that she shares about her life. And if I had known that this show was going on, I actually would have tried out for it. I have no desire to be on film or TV, but I would have tried out for that show, and I think I would have done a great job.
Yeah.
I'm an awesome project manager. Bethenny, if you're watching, hey, hook a sister up. But anyway, the finale I think is coming up pretty soon, and can't wait to see. It's all women actually that have made it through to the final shows, and so it'll be interesting to see who takes home the top prize.
Yeah, we should put a wager on that. I love all, for me, it's not even about the reality portion of it, that it's a reality show. Just like, The Apprentice. I absolutely loved that show, not because it was a reality show, but because I'm a business person and there's always something to learn. And I love, that Bethenny, like you said, I'm sure there are rules, but they're very flexible, right? Like they're very fluid. Like she can make decisions at the moment. And I love that she fired, people on the first day, because nobody was expecting that. Definitely not the viewers, and the people that were there, the participants, that they didn't do it. They weren't expecting it. And I wonder if that's why they weren't on their game as well, But that reminds me, in business, I always say, and most, people say in business, you need to be slow to hire and quick to fire.
Yeah.
Slow to hire and quick to fire. And so when they were giving that little 30-second pitch, she was like, nah, boo, this ain't gonna work. You got to represent me, and that's the best you can do. And we gonna end this right here because I don't have time for that. I need people who are on their game, if you're serious. And then, it seems like it can appear as though she's like, this difficult or being a bitch or whatever, but this is her business. Remember, she came from nothing. And when you when you build your business, you build your brand, whatever it is, on your own back, and you get to this level and you're bringing people in, they need to be excellent, period, point blank, nothing less. Because you work so hard for it, you can't afford for somebody to come in and ruin it all.
Yeah.
So I love that she's quick to hire and slow to fire. And, her business, again, there's so many lessons about just business in there for me that I love, and that you really need to be on top of your game. You need to be social. You need to be observant of your surrounding. When you're going for opportunities like this, even if it's an interview, you got to be able to make a connection. So I desire to be a serial entrepreneur, a successful serial entrepreneur like my girl Bethenny. And Bethenny, you're watching, which I know you will be, 3 Chix and Flix. I'm all about needing a mentor. We all need a mentor.
And Bethenny, I buy your Skinny Girl poppy seed dressing 12 at a time, a case from Amazon. We love you. Hit us up.
We love you, boo. You ladies are crazy, okay? But I love it. You keep it real.
Yeah, and I also want to mention she's a huge philanthropist. She helped out Puerto Rico when they went through. She's helped my home state, the state of Texas. So yeah, shout out to Bethenny.
Be Strong is the name of her nonprofit arm. Yep, awesome.
Yeah.
She gets it. She's the whole 360.
Right.
Yeah.
And before we wrap talking about her up, can I mention that I love that the African American guy who she said, you're not going to make it for the final cut, but I want you to be my assistant. And I think it's so important for people to realize that seize the getting your foot in the door moments. You got to start right here. You can't start right here. So kudos to him for taking advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of people, I have a mentee that when they first started in the business, they had a couple of transactions, and they came to me. They scheduled a meeting, and I was like, okay, this is cool. Maybe we're going to talk about some goals or whatever. But they were very adamant about wanting to be my partner and go and be a 50-50 partner. No. And I said, at that point, I think I'd been in maybe 18 years in the business, and she was in maybe a year, right? And it just doesn't work like that. But she took that with a grain of salt, and she hustled and hustled and hustled. And she has her own team now. And I reminded her of that conversation, and she laughed so hard, like, I can't believe I actually said that. Yeah, you did. Yeah. So also as a you got to creep before you can walk. But as a business owner, again, you got to protect your brand. Even though you see potential in people, you got to make them go. They got to go through the channels, go through the steps and prove themselves, because you could be good today and be gone tomorrow. So the consistency is what's going to really help build your foundation. So anyway, yeah. So I applaud him. Totally.
5 sips. If I could give this show 10 sips, I'd give it 10 sips. But it definitely gets 5 sips for show. Yes.
5 sips, Bethenny. Woo. 5 sips of this skinny margarita.
Let's talk about Without Remorse. Kim, what did you think?
Yeah. This is on Amazon Prime, and it stars Michael B. Jordan, who is Lori Harvey's new boo thang. If you don't know who Lori Harvey is, she is the daughter of Marjorie Harvey, who is now married to Steve Harvey. And this is the first movie that Lauren London, who was, I don't know if she was married to Nipsey Hussle, but this is the first movie she's doing since his passing. It was adapted from a Tom Clancy novel. Tom Clancy's like a New York Times bestseller, movie, everything, the man. But it was the first time a Black actor was a starring role in one of his books, adapted books. So that's huge for Michael B. Jordan. I think that's awesome. Totally action-packed from the minute you start the movie. I think I appreciate watching movies at home because I don't know, honestly, when I'll be going back to a movie theater because, I mean, now they're saying they're cleaning them, but I think this would have been better at a movie theater with all the action and explosions and stuff. And it's a typical government agent who is, CIA or whatever agency he belonged to, Alphabet he belonged to. He's being framed and he has to figure out who's framing him and blah, blah, blah. But the surprising part to me was one of his co-workers, or whatever you want to call her, his commander, is Jodie Turner-Smith, who starred in Queen and Slim, that we all saw together in the movie theater. It took me a minute to realize that was her. She looked amazing. And she was actually pregnant during the filming of that movie. You couldn't tell, but she was pregnant. And it looks like there'll be a sequel to it. The ending, the way it ended, it seems as if they'll bring it back again. But I thought it was an okay movie. What about you, Rhonda?
It was okay, but I want to point out she was actually his superior. Mm-hmm. She was actually his superior. So I love that they made a Black, first of all, they have a Black leading role, like you said, and then they have a Black woman as his superior, not the typical white man or older white woman that they have as the CIA, top dog, right? So I love that. Talk about diversity and inclusion. Kudos to them for casting. So my boyfriend is a big SEAL Team fan. So this was very similar in a lot of ways, but when the SEAL team go in, nobody dies. No, everybody's coming out, but they gangster with it too. I mean, talk about by any means necessary. When he literally went in and poured gasoline over and like, dude, you gonna tell me who that person was, It is like when you're in that situation on TV, I don't understand why people give up the intel because you're gonna die anyway, right? I would just be like, I ain't saying nothing, figure it out, you're gonna kill me anyway. But they always give up the name or give up the information, which is cool. But I enjoyed it. It was okay. It didn't really. I enjoyed looking at Michael B. Jordan. Unfortunately, when he got shot, he had to take his shirt off, and he had to. Yeah. But anyway, I digress. That's my favorite part of the movie.
Well, I have to say that I have no remorse for not even liking without remorse. I don't know, y'all. I tried twice looking at it and it just didn't catch me. I thought it was very predictable. And I'm with you, Kim. Okay, the way it ended, I'm like, okay, supposedly you're dead. So I'm not sure how his coming back to start the new whatever he's trying to start. But Michael B. Jordan, if you're watching, because I know you watch our podcast also, I wasn't feeling this movie, boo.
We still love you, though.
We still love you. But it just wasn't one of my favorites. I don't really have a lot of commentary on it. It just wasn't one of my favorites. I'm with you, Kim. Though I think maybe in the movie theater would have been better because it was action packed. But yeah.
The surround sound and everything. Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it.
I'm giving it 3 sips.
Me too. Oh my God, we're so consistent. Wait, are we predictable? Are we predictable? We're so consistent. We normally, it's very rare that we don't rate it the same. And I promise you, viewers, we do not discuss the shows beforehand. So it's so weird. Maybe we need to start having some special guests in to kind of, shake things up a little.
Right. But it's one. I will not watch it again. No, I'm good. Thank you, Boo.
Thanks, Mike. We love you, Michael.
Yeah, we still love you. Okay, ladies. Let's talk about Monster.
Oh my gosh. I will never hear, when I hear Monster, it's already negative, but it's just heart-wrenching, and oh gosh, I have so many thoughts on this movie. Well, first, let's say I want to share that it actually won an award, I think in 2018 for Sundance.
Sundance.
And yeah, so that was pretty cool. And interesting that it came out now, which is so apropos based on the current climate, right? Now, one thing, the guy from the Central Park 5, right?
Oh, Jamel, yes, he's in it too. Jamel Johnson, right. Or I forgot his name.
Yeah, I said, I hope he's not pigeonholing himself in a role.
Not typecasting, yes.
Right, typecasted, because the roles are so similar. But anyway, he did a great job. But when I saw him, that's the first thing I said. I was like, wow, he's doing this same type of role again. But parents, I just want to encourage you to continue to do what you're doing, support your children, be there for them, converse with them, because this kid just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Had absolutely nothing to do with parents. This is, people are going to be judgy and, what's going on. But his and the relationship with his father too. I love that they depicted a full, functional, loving Black family. Right. And even though, they were going back and forth when he was in jail versus when he was free, and certain memories that sparked with his family and him and his dad when he was leaving that day, remember, you got to go to PTA or whatever. Right. And then when they went back and they showed like him and his brother and his dad, like that is just so awesome that they are depicting the Black family like that. On a positive note, right? And he just, and then his teacher loved him too. And he had a hobby. So what I didn't understand is like, why didn't they, they show, there was so many things I felt like they left out of the movie that they could have shown to prove him innocent as far as his timing. But I'm gonna leave stuff for you to talk about, but I'm just gonna go to the end to say, so you really did go in the grocery store and check it out to see if anybody was there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So all this time, I'm like, no, you didn't. There's no way. But he really did. But it wasn't because he wanted to. He felt like he had to because his life, who knows what those older, bigger kids would have done to him. Well, men, not kids, right? Like he really, and I was shocked if he actually did go in to scope it out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I took the ending. I don't know, what do you guys think?
No, I agree with that. That was my takeaway from the ending. But can I just say, Kelvin Harrison Jr., who played the main character, Stephen Harmon. Oh my God. I'm like, he was so good. I felt like the cast was good. You had Jennifer Hudson, who really didn't have a lot of lines. Jeffrey Wright, one of my favorites. But when you sprinkle it with a little surprise from my boo, John David Washington, I was like, oh my God, can this get any better? But I just have to say that I remember Kevin Harrison from High Note. He played in the Trial of the Chicago 7. I think he was the Fred Hampton character. But I started looking at this other series called Startup that filmed in like 2016, 2017. He's in 12 episodes of that. I love him. I will follow the rest of his career. But I love the way that you can tell that he had a desire to become a filmmaker. That's what he wanted to do. I love the way that the writer decided to have him narrate, the movie like a film. I thought that was clever. I'm with Wanda. I love that they showed a close-knit Black family living in the brownstone in Harlem. And I loved it when his brother asked him, what superhero would you be? And he said, why do I want to be a superhero when I can just be your big brother? I was like, oh.
Right. That's love right there.
That is love. But I feel like it was one of those things where I felt like towards the end of the movie, I said, this is going to have a good ending. I know it is, so I wouldn't really worry about that. But it's just that be mindful of that one split decision that you make, because his life could have really turned the other way. And when they showed the scene at the end where he walked into his room and they had the film equipment for him, I love that. I'm a techie anyway. And was like, oh my God. It's like, I'm like you. I love the family aspect of it, but it was like this impressionable kid kind of almost being fascinated by this man that was older than him, that had chose another life, so he was very impressionable. But overall, I thought the writing was amazing. I actually downloaded the book a few days ago, and the book is pretty much the same as the movie. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It is probably one of my favorites right now. Yeah. What did you think, Kim?
I loved it. You texted me, or somebody texted.
I put it in the group.
Yeah, thank you. I would have never, I don't even think it came up in my queue in my Netflix. I wouldn't have been open to watching it. But, and even my parents watched it before I did, and they were like, oh my God, it's so good. So, like you said, it premiered at Sundance in 2018. So it took 3 years for the public to really see this movie on a larger scale. So if you got a dream, just keep fighting for your dream. But stars Jennifer Hudson, who I think did she win an Oscar, or she was nominated for an Oscar? But her acting has just, elevated over the years, and I can't wait to see her in. She's doing another version of Aretha that's coming out called Respect. John David Washington was a nice surprise. Denzel Washington's son.
Yes.
Jeffrey Wright, who can do no wrong in my book. Like no none. Wrong. He's like a Giancarlo Esposito. Yeah. Like he comes on the screen, you're like, this gonna be the bomb ass movie. So you ain't gotta worry about it. But what surprised me was, I'm an old school hip hop head. I was surprised the minute I saw A$AP Rocky on the street, I knew who he was. I was like, oh,
right.
Oh yeah. He was like,
and he did a great job.
He did a really good job. But then, Lisa, you forgot about the other boo, Nas.
Oh, right. But Nas is one of the producers, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He is.
Oh, that's
so he did a little cameo in the.
I forgot about Nas.
Yes, that's
so
right.
So it was a nice, well-rounded cast. I think they, like you said, it was just nice cameos and surprises here and there. But I really was patting myself on the back that I knew who A$AP Rocky was, because I was like, oh, he looks familiar.
Right.
So just a great cast all around. Like you said, the young man, his name is Kelvin Harrison Jr. He's one to watch. Excuse me. It's a story that could happen to any young Black boy today. Any Black boy. Although he was naive, he was a very naive young man in New York City, which is, but I think it's because he was very, very smart. He went to Stuyvesant High School, which is a very famous magnet school in New York City. It's actually down by the where the Twin Towers stood.
Okay, so that reference
it's an actual high school.
Okay,
like if you got into Stuyvesant, like that was like the shit in New York. Like that was like getting into the Harvard of all the high schools in New York. So he was in the right school. Exactly. And so the fact that he had that talent of he wants to be a filmmaker and the teacher cared about him, but that I love the fact that they showed a nucleus Black family. It wasn't a baby mama. There wasn't a baby father. It was a nice family living in a brownstone in Harlem, where my family lives now. Upper middle class. Father's a graphic designer. I don't think they said what the mother did. They did, I can't remember. But the ending surprised me. He actually, like you said, his life was on the line. He went in to scope it out. But I really thought he would have been found guilty because we have, this problem in our country, the pipeline to prison. It's a business. And I just thought that the jury would have found him guilty like the other young man that he was with, friends in the neighborhood with. But very, very well done movie. I loved it. I could actually probably watch it. And I actually cried at the end when I was like on bated breath when the jury was reading the verdict.
I was like, yes.
I cried at the end when they came to said he was innocent. And then I cried again when I saw that equipment that his parents had bought him.
And I cried when I saw that he actually went in. I was heartbroken because I was rooting for him. I was like, no, this is all a setup.
Yeah.
He didn't do that. There's no way he could have done that.
Yeah.
And then on another note, you can't really swear for anybody, not even your children.
Right. And he was very lucky that he had a public defender that actually cared about him.
I loved her.
He was an excellent.
Yeah.
Yes. Most people are just pushing paper, and don't care. But the fact that she actually took the time to get to know him. Right. The only thing I didn't find realistic was that he wasn't abused in prison. Because we always, like you think about the Khalif Browders and things like that, that he was not really roughed up. I mean, like he had the one time he called the parents and the guy took the phone from him. But you hear all these.
I'll let you know because, of course, the book is going into way much more detail.
Oh, okay.
That's why I love reading the books before I watch the movie.
Right.
Usually.
Yeah. So y'all,
but I thoroughly enjoyed it. 5 sips. If I could give it 10 sips, like 5 sips.
Yeah.
Excellent. 5 sips.
Excellent.
Oh, goodness.
Well, we're now getting into our 3 Chick Biz segment of our show where we highlight a small business, but actually we're going to switch it up because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And we wanted to spotlight Silence the Shame. And Rhonda actually sits on the board of Silence the Shame. And it was started by Shanti Das, who is a friend of the show. And so they had a virtual gala last week to fundraise for their ongoing works and things like that. They had Common, they had Anthony Hamilton, they had Kenneth Cole, they had just a great event. So Rhonda, I don't know if you want to talk more about Silence the Shame and the work that they do in the community.
Our whole purpose is to remove the stigma around mental health. Let's just have the conversation. It's called mental health for a reason. It's just like heart health, right? You go to the doctor. If you have high blood pressure, you have to get on medication, right? If you have some mental health challenges, whether it's minor, major, temporary, or, lifelong, go speak to someone. That's why they're there. There are therapists there who can support you, that can talk you through whatever it is you're going through. And we basically, what we do is we do have a group of therapists that we work closely with. But our main focus is to go out into the communities and just normalize the conversation about mental health, because we all have it. Whether it's healthy today or not, we all have mental health.
Yeah, and that there is no shame in talking to a therapist, y'all. I love my therapist. I can't live without my therapist. So yeah, I'm
literally and figuratively sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So silence of shame.
So make sure you go there.
Help. Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you check them out. Their website is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. And check them out and donate. Any bit helps. Every bit helps, I should say.
Yeah. And you can donate. You can text to donate. You can text silence to 707070.
Awesome.
Great.
And I also want to say, remind, if anyone currently right now, if you feel like you need to talk to someone, there's always the suicide prevention hotline. And you can call that number anytime, 24/7, 365. And that number is 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255.
Perfect. And if you want to be featured in our 3 Chick Biz segment, make sure you email us at 3chixflix@gmail.com. We'd love to highlight you and get your business promoted and spread the word about what you're doing.
Now, I will say, this is kind of an aside. Speaking of books, I am struggling. I still haven't finished Sister Soldier's new book. Have you started reading it yet?
No, after you said that initially, I have not had the desire to download it. Because the
Save
first
your
one was so good. Save my credit on Audible.
On Audible. When I tell you, you will be in a trance. I'm almost done. I'm trying to finish it. Normally I could read a book in a week or less, or listen audio book. It's been months. Maybe 2 when it came out. I downloaded it as soon as it came out, and I might listen to it 30 minutes at a time.
Oh wow.
Sister Soldier.
But
what's really going on?
I think I read that.
The coldest winter ever.
And a half. Yeah.
The coldest winter ever
was
one of the best books ever. They need to put that into a movie.
A movie, yeah.
That needs to be a movie. Instead of this book, you should have did a movie for the coldest winter ever, Sister Soldier. Yeah. I love you. I respect you. This book is it's difficult. Even Midnight was a good read. Mm-hmm. That was her second book. Right. We love us some Midnight. Ugh. But this one, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, that's just an aside. This is about flicks, not about books. But we gotta switch it up a little on you. It's kind of like Bethenny. You never know what's coming. channeling our inner Bethenny. Do a little something in there, keep you on your toes.
Looks like we're coming towards the end of our show, ladies.
Awesome. Yes. Unfortunately.
Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and we're on Spotify and Apple iTunes for the podcast. So, make sure you check us out and tell us what you want us to watch. We're open to watching whatever you guys are watching. There may be something we don't know about.
And who knows, if you suggest something and we watch it, you might be a special guest.
But in the meantime, stay cute.
Stay cute.
Stay cute.